Okay, so so just returning to the work, the mood of work. There's part of you that's saying, oh no, not this again. And another part of you that's relieved to come back to the thing that nourishes you most of all. John always used to say the only way you'd make progress really is if you come to the realization that your internal work is the most important part of your life and everything else takes second place. Okay, so again, just feeling the two legs. Just let's concentrate on the one we're going into. So we sink like sinking into a spring and it just naturally recoils you back. So we want the return to happen because of the structure of the leg, not because I've made a decision to return. The leg can't load anymore, and so it throws me out. And you'll only feel it if you can feel the energy that comes up. As I sink into the leg is already throwing some energy up, which my body latches onto and then is taken. So the same way if you press into a spring, you can feel it pushing back on you as soon as you push on it. And if you just let yourself go with that, then it will throw your body. So as I sink into the leg is returning energy. And I want to feel it here in the upper chest, in what John called the thymus. There's like it reaches there and then something in me just has to go with it. Sinking into the leg, something comes up. And then just concentrate on the other leg. So as I sink into this leg is like a piece of elastic that's being stretched. And then it gets to a point where it has to recoil. So it then pulls me back. So the leg straightens and then it has to bend. Yeah. Just feel how different they feel. Mind in the Danshan. Yeah, so mind in Danshan, when it's successful, it will unify the upper and the lower body. And then both legs, you're sinking into one, you're stretching the other. And they both return you at the same time, pretty much, not necessarily. So you're never just one thing in Tai Chi. It's Taoist, so there's always two opposites playing with each other. So the reason the mind will try and simplify it and just lock it into one mechanical machine is because it wants to go into automatic and start thinking to itself. So you have to be with both components. I'm sinking into this foot, this leg is stretching, this one pulls, this one pushes. So you always contain at least two minds. Yeah, so your two legs are pushing hands with each other. As one pushes, the other one has to receive. And it has to receive actively, otherwise it will get pushed around. This is the interesting thing about going to see a psychotherapist. They're normally experts at listening. And just being in the room with someone that's willing to listen to you, you find yourself saying things you didn't realize you knew. It sort of unlocks parts of you. It's the same here. This leg is really listening to what this is giving, and then this can give just a little bit more. Feel the Min Meng pushing back. Yeah, so the first stage really is just unifying upper and lower body, mind in Danshan. And then you can get the two sides of the body, the left and the right, working harmoniously with each other. Yeah, so we normally produce a split here. Yeah. I mean, there's a natural split there anyway, because we're just not really designed to stand up straight. But we tend to aggravate that split because when we're unified, the ground will earth the mind. Yeah, so the ground will be just sucking all that excess electrical energy from your brain. And you won't have the desire to just natter all the time to yourself. Okay, so let's just bring it back to so just feel the Dan Qian, feel the Min Meng. Yeah, so when you get the Dan Qian right, it feels like it's all this sort of energy is funneling into it. And the Min Meng feels the opposite, like there's all this energy coming out of it. And the energy coming out of the Min Meng is surrounding you, it's coming up and over, underneath, round to the sides. You know, like the lines of flux in magnets. Remember when we were kids? Yeah, so your Dan Qian is the center of a ball, and the ball is your energy. So sense that all these front centers, the three Dan Qians, are drawing energy into themselves. And then the sense that your three sets of limbs, your arms, your legs, and your eyes are coming out of the back of those points. Okay, and now let's just breathe it a little bit. So it's just breathing and trying to get the Dan Qian area to be the center of the breath. So you need to breathe through that little small hole in the mouth a bit. So breathing in when the hands separate, breathing out when they come together. And as you breathe in, really feel the Dan Qian sucking in to actually get the air coming through the small hole, and then feel the Dan Qian squeezing to push the air out. Yeah, so when what you're doing is a little difficult, then you'll naturally just bring in a bit of spirit to help you. So, we have to be really careful that we use the work to control the spirit rather than dampen the spirit. So we're generating spirit, but we're just containing it. The spirit is excited but internally gathered. This is what it says in the classics. So we don't want to get into a state of sort of really wet spirit, spirit that's just sort of useless. So you should be able to lose your temper at the drop of a hat. Lash out when need be. So we generate spirit, gather spirit, so that we can use it to change into different creatures. Yeah. So there's a sense that when you get into the exercise, you become something that has a different shape, at least, different shape and a different mood. Now you need spirit to actually generate that. Yeah, so in the sense that the lowest energy state is the common one nowadays, the bourgeois narcissist. Yeah. So that's just no spirit. It's just everything's leaks out. And they're only really concerned with themselves, their own comforts. And everything, society conspires to keep them happy. In other words, to keep them flat and dead. And then just bring it into this one. Again, breathing. And then just start turning with it. And just feel the yin and yang, the two sides of the body change to produce the turn. So the turn isn't just me giving orders. Yeah, there's something that one side is becoming yin, one side is becoming yang, and that will produce a turn. And then again, it's just what we were doing with the feet before, really. So we just want to feel the inevitability, the absolute vital importance of turning. When I come into a foot, when I sink into the spring, I will turn towards it. And when I come out of it, I will turn away. So I'm sinking into this leg. And then it throws me back. There's this rifling effect. There's a turning, a twisting as you go into a leg. This just makes the energy a little bit more true. And you just want to feel the turn as being a relaxation. Something in me has let go and I've just dropped down. And then when I come back, something in me has tensed up. So this middle position, the position of symmetry, is closed. And even though this is relaxed and sunk, it's still twisted up, and that twist returns me. So sense of slipping down the hill, and then coming back on top of the hill, and then slipping down the hill again. So Dr. Chi used to say, every time you transfer your weight from one foot to the other, there's a moment of double weightedness. And you don't want to linger there. So we just want to feel it. Feel this point, which is, we normally take to be the stable point. And now we want to feel it as the dangerous dead point. Yeah? We don't want to get stuck there. Okay, so let's just bring it back to the front. And just feel how statuesque this posture feels, yeah? There's something inherently wrong about it, yeah? It wants to be shifting, yeah? So I want to feel that I've got this position, not because something in me is locked up and become inactive, but because I'm equilibrating these two sides that are each wanting to pull me into them, yeah? So you should almost feel like you're about to totter, you're about to sort of lose your balance, yeah? It's really, there's a lot of potential there. Now you're on top of the hill, so that's where you have your potential energy, which converts to kinetic as you slip down the side, yeah? And just guard against the mind that wants to freeze so that it can start thinking to itself. That's deadly. Okay, now let's just turn again, but now, so what we're trying to do all the time is get away from this sense of a central authority, a self that is actually doing, yeah? So I'd like to feel the turn as not being me that has made a turn, but me that has just released. So this feeling that something here has just released and that has pulled me round, yeah? And this is really important in the form. And then here, something in me has released, almost like I've dropped, something has dropped down. and it's taken me around and into this foot. Yeah. So something falls. Yeah. And then I get sprung back because the leg is springy, and then something falls here. Yeah. So the turn is generated by a relaxation. Something in me releases to produce the turn. Then that potential energy gets converted to kinetic, which takes me down, but it also twists me up. And then that twist wants to untwist. So wow, something in me relaxes down, springs back. Something in me relaxes down, springs back. So whoa. And just feel it as something just that side of the body, something just lets go preferentially. So it produces a turn towards it. And yeah, so something lets go. Something lets go. And then just turning, just the first warm-up exercise, but with the same thing. It's feeling that you're turning, not because I am doing this, yeah, but because one side of my body is just relaxing preferentially. So I relax here, this then springs me back. I relax here, it loads the spring, and it springs me back. Yeah, otherwise, to do something, you'll always have to get tense, and that will always bring you up. And it will always lock you together into this false unity. You can only lock left and right together if you break with the ground. It's a bit like juggling. Yeah, you're juggling these two sides. Won't be so bad, but the two sides are just shifting constantly from yin to yang. Ooh. And ooh. And then just back. Again, just feel it really woozy. And then let's just try a little bit of this one. So again, of course, turning, but turning in order to yield. So I'm not just turning in order to sink, I'm turning to draw some energy into me. Yeah, so on this one, you can really feel the Min Meng. It's really sending out all these tentacles of energy, these threads of energy that end up enveloping you. So you're wrapping yourself up. And just feel the wing. So as your arm goes out, it's taking this big wing with it. So as you turn to yield, the wing that you brought out for the attack just wraps around you. You just become cocooned. Yeah, and just remember, we would like the movement to be the turning rather than moving side to side. So there's a point I can sort of turn to here relatively easily, but then to turn anymore, something in me has to really let go. And that will compromise my balance, so I'll feel less stable. It'll feel more sort of shaky. And there's always the sense that you're not doing it right when you start losing your equilibrium a bit. But those are the places we want to push ourselves into. Yeah, so we equilibrate and then we test the equilibrium by pushing it into areas where it is likely to get unbalanced. Yeah. So I turn and then I just turn a bit more. So just really aim to extend your turn. Yeah, so your turn is getting more and more. And again, I want to get the turn, not because I've pushed myself around, but because I've let go. And it, you know, it really gets into the legs. Okay, so now let's just bring it back a bit. Again, it should just feel really round now. It's like you've smoothed out the surface of your energy. Yeah? Saw a lovely sort of video clip yesterday of a woman who's a potter, and she makes these beautiful pots, and then just before she fires it, she polishes it with a stone like a pebble, for ages. Yeah, just wearing it down with a shiny pebble. Yeah, so there's that sort of, you're just doing something that has a minimum effect, but doing it for a long time to produce an effect of real depth. Yeah? This is what the practice is. It's so undramatic. And yet, if you do it long enough and persistently enough, it produces real change. So just feel the middle. Yeah, so your legs and your torso are knit together. It's just one thing. It's like Charles Olson said, man's greatest achievement was standing up straight. And since then, it's all been downhill. Yeah. And it's because we just didn't do it right. Yeah. If we'd sunk into the legs instead of pushed into the upper body, it would have just been, you know, we wouldn't be in the state we're in. The planet wouldn't be. Okay, and now let's just go. Feel the ground and then just come back up. Yeah, so we just want this feeling that we can just really just dip. You're trying your best not to incline forwards too much. So if you keep the eyes ahead and just really slowly, and then when you come up, really just drive into the heels. Oh, so you don't bring your energy up to make it easy. Just feel the change in your mood as you get lower to the ground. Something in you just toughen up and quieten down. And then up. And just one more, and this time we'll just stay down. Just down, feel the ground, and then just squat. So let the lower back spread, let the hips open. Use the elbows to drive the knees out. And just breathe. Feel the tightness in the dantian because it's all a bit crushed from the squat. Now, just want to feel the mood toughening up. You toughen up into this squat. The unsentimental mind. A mood of no pity. And then just rocking forwards. And just feel the arms filling up with your weight. Yeah, so the arms now, instead of being their normal smart ass selves, they're now supporting. So just feel that, how they've changed. Yeah, so just get it to play. Yeah, so the hands and the feet are playing and the two sides are playing. So there's a little bit of movement from left to right and a little bit of movement backwards and forwards. Almost like the legs and the hands are both fighting with each other a bit. Yeah, so to generate spirit, you need contest. You need the two components, the yin and the yang, to sort of squabble a little bit. And then just rock back onto the feet and just let them fill up. So now my legs are just passive supporters again. My hands can be dexterous and clever. But always that play between the two sides of the body. And now just one more coming forwards. Hands on the ground, just feel the ground, cool. And slowly rock over and just feel the arms filling up with strength to support the spine. Feel that point on the spine between the two shoulders where the arms are sort of holding on to the spine. Just below the shoulder blades, really. Opposite the heart, back heart. Get the play backwards and forwards. So just your legs are trying to get rid of your weight. And then once the arms have had enough, they're trying to get rid of it. And then just rock back. And remember, the good student can find anything interesting. Yeah. So basically, the good student just has spirit, and so and intelligence. So those two combined will just make sure that anything that is done, interest is found. Yeah. So it's like just not wasting your time, not getting bored, never getting bored. John used to say, you only get bored if you're boring. The good student is never bored because they're always working. Okay, so let's bring it up again. And just feel it, almost like a rupture. Yeah, something has snapped because you've come away from the ground. And it's just going to take a bit of time for us to settle into gravity again. Okay, and now let's just try the stepping. So again, just pausing slightly before you put the weight in the foot. Yeah, so picking your spot and picking your moment. Yeah, it's like two kids playing catch with a ball. Yeah, so the problem with playing catch is that there's always the possibility of not catching it, of course. And so we want, as I sink into this leg and this leg stretches, I just want to keep that line so that when I pull back, it's almost like a piece, the string is pulling my weight into the correct place. There's no chance that I could go too far or not far enough. I will always hit the foot. So we need to keep those elastic connections. So it's not enough just to push out of this leg. I have to pull with this leg as well. Yeah, so you're the hunter. You're in a crouch. You're crouched low so that you're not seen. And your feet, as the foot, as it's going down, it's not just finding the right spot, it's tracking. Yeah. This sense that it's feeling the ground. It's feeling the quarry that you're hunting. Yeah. Yeah, so imagine you're out with your mates and you're on the hunt. Yeah, there'd be a real sense of being on a mission. Yeah, a real sense that you're sort of all flowing together in this one activity, and it would transform you. Each one of you would become more than you normally are. And each one of you would have like a natural talent. One of you would be the scout, one would be the person keeping track, one would be really good with the bow and arrow. So and it would just be really exciting, and full of spirit, in a way that life never is anymore. For there to be spirit, there has to be danger. The more danger, the more spirit. Okay, let's try the other leg. Again, just start it off. Okay, and now let's just bring it back. Now just feel how that spirit that was introduced with the hunt, just how differently it makes you feel. Yeah, so you know those, what we call primitive people. It's, they're primitive in one way. They don't have technology. And yet in every other way, they're more advanced than we are. Yeah. And so, when they go out for the hunt, they dress, they got feathers and, and maybe a skin, a bear skin or something. So there's a costume associated with the activity. Yeah? And that's what spirit does to you. So when your spirit is charged up, you suddenly sprout all these sort of bits and pieces. And so it's something, as the self retreats more and more, you get more and more of this plumage, if you like. That's what John was just really interested in. And you can just feel that, when you come back to self, all of that just retreats, it just sucks right in, and you've just become the obnoxious blob again. So energy has left the room. Spirit. Okay, now let's just bring it back to attention. I saw a lovely little film on Chernobyl. Remember where the nuclear disaster was in 1986? So a whole big area, I can't remember if it's Russia or the Ukraine. Yeah. You can't get those two confused anymore. Is uninhabitable, no humans. And of course, since humans left, it's become completely overrun by nature. And species have appeared that they thought were so, almost extinct. And it's just, it's just full. It's just full of nature. Yeah. And the fact that these animals don't live very long, because they get cancer and everything from the radiation. They live long enough to breed, and that's all that matters. Yeah. Anything left over is just you not having the grace to sort of leave the picture. Yeah. So it's like the only hope nature has really is if there's a nuclear holocaust and humans are greatly reduced. Yeah. So the two sides are always playing. And when you're standing like this, the main play is not so much leg to leg, but more like this, like going on inside each side of the body. Yeah. Like these two snakes that are just going up and down, up and down. And it requires a turn, but it would also just requires like something in you just, yeah. So there's always this going on. Yeah, so the muscles are being worked all the time, but to move energy rather than move the body, to produce ripples through the body. And that just starts once you get enough tone in the Danshan area, once it's become something that holds you together. Yeah, so this replaces the self, this replaces the ego. We need something that's going to hold us together. It's normally our own self. But that just means the body is basically incapable. So when it's here, the body becomes eminently capable. Okay.